Man, what a course. Enough bugs out here though, fortunately on the deck after we played, but a good course. Can't remember the name of it, but a good course. Lots of planes and trucks and stuff driving by on the outside of the course. A good course. Occasional gunfire, maybe, because there is a shooting range not far off the course. And then there were some couple of times when we were standing on the 18th tee and people were worried that somebody was shooting guns on one of the side streets right off the course. Still a good course. Nice clubhouse. I rented a set of Titleist AP1s, recent AP1s, and a TP2 driver. Had fun with that. Good course. Nice, not too tight, not too wide. Nice amount of waste. Definitely a ball eating course, but still fun. Just hot, tired, enjoying a couple beers. One hell of a good course. 8-foot high greens, fast greens, lots of slope. A good course. Let's see, the greens were in good shape. They'd recently been rolled, aerated, I guess, not long ago, but long enough that the aeration marks had settled down. This is a course I talked about before that was flooded. When I came out and did a review of another course here, and there was still like one fairway that was still being pumped, and I think the number 10 fairway, they ended up moving the tees forward about 100 yards off the normal tees. So instead of a par 4 like 350, it was a par 3 165. It's still a good course. It's in the middle of what should be a swamp, but it's raised up a little bit. Lots of water, lots of waste, narrow fairways with trees lining on both sides. It's still not too tight, not too wide. Just basically a good course. Unfortunately, a little bit more road noise than I really want. Certainly roads, I think one of the main roads is passing right by one side of the course. But overall, it was still pretty good. And $50 for a cart on a Friday for 18. You know, it's hard to beat a course like this. It just would be better if it was in the middle of nowhere. But other than that, really can't complain. Just a really nice course. Got to give it at least a B, even considering all the distractions and stuff going on around the course. Absolutely enjoyed the round. I'm tired. Hot and tired. All right, so this is a review of the Luna Vista golf course. And that is in Grand Prairie between Dallas and Fort Worth on the Bush, just off the Bush Highway, and 695 where they intersect at Las Colinas in the neighborhood of Dallas, Texas. And this is a good course. I gave a little preview there in the little sound bites that I took when I was at the course, and almost totally exhausted with heat, almost heat stroke and dehydration after the round. It was a great round and really enjoyed it. Nice course, and it's just weird how it was a really good course, but there were undoubtedly some issues with traffic rolling by on the second hole and the third tee box, and also on the backside passes right by Las Colinas Highway. Anyway, it's a really good course, and I thoroughly enjoyed the round. And I have to say that it was a little bit hot, as usual, playing it here in Dallas in June. Not too bad. It was definitely something where you want to bring a couple of drinks. And I didn't even stop to get anything to eat or drink at the turn, so we just kept blazing on around. And it was kind of an interesting experience for me because I played with at least one guy. I was paired up off the first tee with one guy who was a scratch golfer, and then also we picked up another guy in the eighth who was also pretty good. So it was a good sort of experience for me to play this course, and the course really has a lot of waste, not far off the fairway, but not too tight. It's one of those courses where you really don't get any chance to go out and find balls if you hit way off the fairway, except on a few holes, certainly on, I think, number 7 and number 6 and number 7 are close enough And there's only a few trees and a little waste between them where you can go into the other fairway and play back if you hit over there. And I think also the hole on the right side of number 6 is also the same way. But there's definitely some waste in between the holes. It's not like you can easily find your ball even in the waste around the trees. It's just a little of a challenge. No question if you are offline. And there is definitely enough noise and stuff around the course. There's a gun range not far off the course. And it's also in a construction, like a quarry and stuff back there. And it's right down on the river that runs through there. So there's a lot of water. This course is easily flooded out when it rains. As a matter of fact, the number 10 fairway was half closed. They actually made it a par 3, like 165, because the fairway was wet. You can see the pump in the pictures. But in general, it was in good condition. Grass was in decent condition. The rough was in decent condition. Couldn't complain about that at all. Definitely a good challenge. And almost all the greens were elevated somewhere between 5 to 8 feet. Some of them were really pretty high, and had waste behind them. They weren't too tight, but they definitely had waste behind them. And I think on the number 7, there was a lake right next to the green. And so the big thing is I was playing this course, and I got kind of a lesson from this scratch player who was almost consistently out driving me by 50 yards. And then he'd have a short chip up to the green, and he was almost always leaving his greens maybe 10 to 15 feet at the most away from the pin. Where a lot of times I was having to hit bump and runs up to the green, and the greens were fast enough and slope enough. The greens were in really good condition, although they had been recently aerated long enough ago so where you could see the aeration marks, but they weren't really affecting putts. And they were definitely fast and sloped. And a lot of times I'd chip up from the sides off the mounds of the greens, and then have to go chase my chip off the other side, because it just rolled off the other side and went down about halfway down or something down the other side. So sometimes I won holes, sometimes he won holes. He won probably about 2/3 of the holes once we got past the 3rd or 4th hole green. And it was a good lesson in how to play controlled golf. He was driving the fairway, center fairway most of the time, and then having short chips up to the green. And when he didn't do that, I was at least able to play with him. But most of the time I was chasing him around the course. So good education, good fun, not the greatest conditions. Certainly this would definitely fall in the category of a course that had the neighborhood grow up around it. Anyway, so I would have to give it a solid B+. The Luna Vista Golf Course, Grand Prairie, Texas.